A very crisp and cool welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me. We have officially crossed into hoodie weather where I live, and I like it-ish. I could live in 90-degree heat all the time and be fine, but I guess fall is better than winter, so I will be thankful. Today, we are going to talk about Week 7, and I have two new exciting pieces of information that we're going to drop in this video. Two new ways of doing things for these weekly picks. I'm excited about them. So, first, I need to warn you guys, the NFL is hard to beat. It's the sharpest lines. I'm not going to force picks. Please use the information I provide you, but also use yourself. There's nothing worse than tailing someone and saying, I knew that was a bad pick, all right? I have been a victim of that myself over the years, and I try to warn people that I don't know everything. And last week is definitely a reminder that I don't know everything. We'll talk about that in a second, but the first thing we need to talk about is this new thing I want to incorporate. I want you guys to drop your extra most bestest pick of the week. Every week I give out my best bet. Last week it was Cleveland Browns plus 9.5, and I said I hate this pick, but math tells me this is the way to go. Austin Waitman came back and said, bro, wasn't lying about the Browns. He had to come back and commend you. I appreciate that, Austin. But what I want to do is have you guys drop your whole list of extra most bestest picks. And then in the following video, the week 8's video, I'll put a slide like this, and I'll give shout outs to you guys for having, the best picks of the week or whatever. So just something I want to incorporate to kind of build more of a community and have you guys get to share your picks a little bit, not just me. Now, the reason partly is because me is bad, right? This was awful. Last week was not a good showing at all. 2 and 3 on my good picks, and usually I can say, well, my red picks were good. They weren't even good. So we're moving on to this week, and we have two teams on a bye, the Bears and thankfully the Cowboys. I can't pick the Cowboys this week, which I'm sure you guys are all very happy to hear because I have been way too attached to those awful, awful Cowboys. But the second new thing that we're going to do this week is we're going to set it up a little differently. I decided what I'm going to do to kind of shape my picks is to set my own line. Before I look at any lines, I'm going to look at the matchup and I'm going to handicap it raw, all right? Just give you the line that I think is true. And so what I've done is I have listed on every game my line, the spread and the total that I think it should be set at. If I was Vegas, here is where I would put it. And then you'll see that my picks are a sort of a reflection of that. So in Denver and the New Orleans Saints, this game is tomorrow, Thursday night. It's not necessarily one that I'm excited about. In fact, I'm not excited at all. Derek Carr is still hurt. Spencer Rattler will play. I said the Saints should be +2 and the line should be 37.5. And by golly, guys, that's a pretty good line that I set. And since I am agreeing with Vegas, there is no strong feeling about it. That's why they're both red. Okay, so you'll see how this picks up. I just think Denver is very similar to the Saints. They don't have the big play capability that the Saints have. And that's maybe the one thing that I think could be the difference in this game. If the Saints can make some big plays, I'm talking 50, 60-yard Rashid Shaheed type plays, that I think will be the difference in this game. The Saints defense has looked vulnerable in the last few weeks, but I think it's a result of the competition they've played, and I think Denver should bring that back a little bit. I think they should be able to contain a pretty basic Denver Broncos offense. So I would take the over 36.5 because I have it at 37.5, right? So it's not a huge lean. And I would take the Saints +2.5. I had the Saints at +2. All right. So probably an overall skip for me on those plays. Sunday at 9 a.m., we stay in London, and the Jags especially stayed in London. And I have the Jags as a 4.5-point favorite with a line at 41.5. And this was pretty close as well. I would take the Patriots +5.5 in a non-confident pick. Again, because it's so close to what I project this game to be. I think Drake May is an improvement from Jacoby Brissett, and I think he should have an opportunity to feast on a secondary that Caleb Williams made to look like chopped liver, made to look like a high school JV secondary. It was bad for the Jags. Great for Caleb Williams and his reputation in the NFL. I don't know what the Jags' identity is. I don't know what... I don't know if it's a Trevor Lawrence team. I don't know if Travis Etienne is even going to play. He hurt his hamstring. The receivers should be good. Like Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., those are good receivers, but we're not seeing it. So I think it could be an ugly game, and I think the Patriots could cover that 5.5. Although it is an advantage for the Jags to have stayed in London. Sunday at 1 o'clock, we move to a game in Buffalo. I have the Bills as a 7.5-point favorite, and I have the line at 44.5. And so the Titans are 9.5. So as crazy as it is, I hate to do this, but I think I would have to take the Titans at plus 9.5. I'm scared that the Bills may play to the level of their opponent. I think they could win, by 7, by 8, by 9, but we still cover with that 9.5. Of course, the Bills could come out and do what we've seen them do in weeks past and put up 40 points and dominate, but I'm not sold that they're going to be able to do that. I would take the over 40.5. I think that's pretty low, and I do think there is a path for the Bills to put up 30 points and Tennessee to keep somewhat pace. Please put Mason Rudolph in the game. Stop with Will Levis. I repeat this sentiment often on this channel. I don't know if teams want to win now or if they want to get a certain player practice so that in 3 years they're ready. Okay? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're trying to say, Will Levis is our future. So we're going to make Will Levis play. Even though Mason Rudolph gives us a better chance to win now, we're going to give Will Levis the reps. I don't know. I would hate losing. So I would say we're going to put the best quarterback in. And I think the best quarterback is Mason Rudolph, but they don't. So there we are. Sunday at 1 o'clock. Divisional matchup, Bengals and Browns. I have the Browns as plus 7.5 and the line at 44.5. A couple of key numbers here that we cross over. Bengals are 6 on the spread. So I would take that line. Although it is close, we do get the hook of that key number of 7. I don't know who the Browns are going to pass to, but I still think this game could go over. I also haven't heard if Nick Chubb is back. I doubt he is, but there is maybe a possibility he comes back this week. We'll see. Maybe Amari Cooper being gone is somehow a blessing. I can't see it, but he wasn't too involved anyway. The Bengals did finally hang on for a win Sunday night or Monday. I believe it was Sunday night. But this divisional matchup on the road does scare me a little bit. However, I would take the Bengals -6 and the over 41.5. This game I'm just excited for. And I have put the line fairly close to what it is. So again, these picks are with no confidence. I think the Packers should be favored by 1.5. They're favored by 2.5. I think the line should be at 45.5. It's at 46.5. So this is very close to what I believe the game should be. And so I'm going to stay away. I do think the Packers win the game, right? So that's where it kind of gets weird. You think the Packers are going to win the game, but only by 2? That's crazy. You're right. It is crazy to say that. I'm trying this new thing and I'm going to try to stick to it. So if I set the line at 1.5 and it's 2.5, although the margin is thin, I will take what I believe based on this ratio, right? I believe the Packers will win the game, but when you're giving me that point, that's why it's red, right? And I can go down a rabbit hole because if this is 3.5, maybe it becomes yellow because of that key number of 3 and teams winning by a field goal. Okay, so this is how I'm thinking about it. You may not agree. If you don't agree, don't tail the bet. All right, it's just that simple. Another game that I have, my first bit of true confidence, and this is actually a perfect example based on what I was just saying, okay? I have it at 41.5, and I have the Colts at 4.5-point favorites, and they're 3. So even though, okay, this is perfect, guys. I didn't even plan this segue. This is a 1-point difference, right? And it's red. This is a 1.5-point difference, and it's green. Why? Because this is a key number, okay? 3 is a key number. All right, so I think that they clear that key number of 3. And even you could argue that 4 is a key number. If you think about a 7-point touchdown and a 3-point field goal, that's a difference of 4. I think they're clearing both of those key numbers, so that's why it's green, all right? So that's kind of how my brain works when I assess this. I like the under 43.5 mainly because I'm not sure the Dolphins can put up points. I haven't seen it, and I don't know if this week I will see it. So maybe the bye week helps them regroup, and I'm completely wrong, and they put up 20. I just don't see it happening. So I'm hoping the Colts start Joe Flacco because I think that is the best situation for the Colts to win now, not Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson could be a great player in this league, but I haven't seen it so far. Sunday at 1 is another one that is just an absolute gem, an absolute treat. We are blessed to have such a good week. This is a really good week of games. Lions and Vikings, 2 teams at the top of the league, really, get to face each other in week 7. I have the line at 48.5 and the Vikings as 2.5-point favorites, and they are 1.5-point favorites, and the total is 50. So I would take under, and I would take the Vikings to cover. They just came off a bye week. This is a division rival. They have the home field advantage. They have kind of the intangible off-the-field advantages over the Lions. I fear that people are going to look at the score of the Lions-Cowboys game and say they just put up 47, we'll take the Lions. There may be a path where this line ticks the other way. I don't know. I'm not going to say it will, but if by kickoff, this is a pick'em. This is, minus 110 both sides. Nobody's favored. It's just a 0.5 spread. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, because I think that could be a big deal. However, losing Aiden Hutchinson may have people back off because they don't know how this defense looks without him. That's fair as well, and something you have to keep in mind. Sunday at 1 o'clock. I forgot the Seahawks game. I just realized. So here's what happened. Okay, and we'll do it now. Okay, we'll just do it now. I use an app to lay out all the games, and I have the Seahawks favored on the app. And so since they are a favorite team, they're bumped to the top. And so I scroll through and I do all of them, and then I forget to go back up to the top and do the Seahawks games. The Seahawks play the Falcons, all right? And let's just go ahead and look at the spread right now. I'm taking the Falcons, okay? The Falcons are 2.5-point favorites, and the total's 51.5. I will take, and this is my official play, and I should have handicapped it, but to match my GMG line. The point is, the Seahawks defense is so, we'll do it at the end. We'll do it at the end. I want to give you guys the honest look at it without this distracting you. Okay, so sorry. Eagles and Giants. We'll talk Eagles and Giants. This one's a little crazy. This is my worst. This was my worst showing of the week. All right, I had that at 6.5, 44.5. It's only 3. So you would, again, look at this and say, why isn't it pink? Oh my gosh. Because once I typed the line in here, I was like, okay, that feels better. The Giants have shown that they are not horrible. So that makes some sense. So that's why it's just yellow. I realized this was probably an overreaction to what the past Giants team is, not necessarily the current Giants team is. So the Eagles, I just feel, are on the verge of a breakthrough game. They're playing very ignorable. Nobody's talking about the Eagles right now. Whereas the Giants are on the verge of also having a breakthrough game, but they're playing very, oh, wow, the Giants aren't horrible, right? This should be, a year ago, this would be an easy pick, right? The spread would be 6.5, maybe 8.5. But now we're in a different year. So it's a sneaky one, which is why I'm not putting green or pink on it. Sunday at 4, we have the Raiders and the Rams. My question, I'll say that my line is Rams minus 5.5 and at 40.5 on the total. Is Adams leaving a good thing? Because my question is, what does it change? Has he been relevant to this offense at all this year? No. So him leaving, people may be saying, okay, the Raiders are losing this key piece. Well, they haven't had the key piece. In the past few weeks, he has not been relevant to any of their final scores. So they're not really losing anything. The Rams do come off a bye, and I think this is a season-changing game, right? If they lose to the Raiders at home, there goes the playoff chances. They are still on the outside looking into the playoffs right now, but if they lose this game, I think it's over, right? So I would take the Raiders plus 6.5 in low confidence. We'll see what happens just because it fits the metric of this prediction. And I would take the under 43.5 only because I do not know if the Raiders can put up 20 points. Okay, so that's where I am. Sunday at 4, Panthers and Commanders. I think the line should be at 47.5, and I think that the Commanders should win by 6.5. It's 7.5. So we'll take the Panthers, and I'm scared of it. That's why it's red. I would take the under 50. That's why it's red, because I fear the Commanders could have put up 40 points on this defense. The Panthers' defense is one of the worst. People put up points on them like crazy. I fear that this could be another one of those instances. If we win both of these bets, we are the best bettor on planet Earth. That's what I'll say. If the Panthers can keep pace with the Commanders or stop the Commanders, we're amazing. Green Means Go is going to rise to the top. We'll see what happens. Sunday at 4, we're just blessed. We're truly blessed. I've said it before. There are tremendous games. There are absolute Packers, Houston, Vikings, Lions, and this game. What do you guys want? If only they could have flexed this to Thursday nights. We have to watch that. What the heck? What did I just hit? I can hit the D key? Dude, this changed my life. Why? What is, I can hit the D key on my keyboard and get a drum roll. And I haven't been using that? That's the best accidental hand twitch I've ever had. That's awesome. I have it as a 1.5 point game and a 45.5 point total. I'm dead on with the spread. I called the spread perfectly, and I would take the Chiefs on the other side. Okay, I think that the 49ers should be favored by 1.5, but I would pick the Chiefs to cover plus 1.5 in a very low confidence bet. Under 47.5, I think the defenses could shine here. These are two very good offenses, but I think this will be a sneaky defensive game. Both of these teams know each other's weapons, and so I like the under 47.5. Sunday Night Football is the Jets. And, drumroll please, it's my extra most bestest pick of the week. That's right, I'm taking Jets minus 1.5. Okay, I'm pushing all my chips into the middle. Every last one of them. I think the Steelers should be plus 3.5 in this game, and you're giving me 1.5. I think the total should be set at 41.5. Here's the deal. If the Steelers really start Russell Wilson, they are taking a firearm and they are aiming it at their toes and they're pulling the trigger. Okay, they are shooting themselves in the foot like I've never seen. Why are you starting Russell Wilson? Justin Fields has given you a 4-2 record. He's looked good doing it. He's looked like he has threats in passing and running. And you're going to take that. It's just ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. And the Jets are kind of like, this is their season, right? This is their season. Devontae Adams is there. Like this, you got to prove something. They almost proved it against the Bills. They couldn't get it done. I think the Steelers is their opportunity. We're running it. Extra Most Bestest pick of the week. We'll do it. Monday Night Football, there are two games this week. The first is the Ravens and Tampa Bay. I have it at 48.5 and Tampa Bay as 4.5-point underdogs. It's 3.5, so I'll take the Ravens in a non-confident pick, and I have the total exactly right, but I would lean on the under. I think it should be a great game. We are going to talk more about this on our Monday Night Football promo preview, as we always do, so we won't talk too much about it right now. Those are my picks. And finally, our second Monday Night Football game, I have it at 42.5 and the Cardinals at plus 5.5. I think the Chargers are maybe undervalued a little bit. You're getting them at less than that field goal, 2.5. So it is a green pick, and I would take the under. Again, I think this team is very defensive, very run-heavy, very old school, and I think that could be trouble for the Cardinals, who have kind of fallen off a bit. They've played some tough games the past few weeks, but I do think they've fallen off. So we'll talk more about that Monday, like I said. Reminder, please drop your extra most bestest pick of the week right now in the comments. All you have to do is say, my extra most bestest pick is... Titans plus 1.5. That's all you got to do. And then if you are correct, I'll screenshot them and I'll add it to our list for next week. So there you have it. Tomorrow we're talking touchdowns. Make sure you tune in. If you don't mind liking this video, if you made it this far, sharing it with somebody, that would help me a ton. I love you guys, and we will see you tomorrow for our touchdown picks.